Hi, everybody, and welcome to this evening's talk. We are going to be talking about water, one of my favorite topics ever. I think it's because we are 80% water ourselves, and when we understand quantum and we understand scalar waves and we understand 0-point non-locality, etc., we understand that the water needs to be structured. It can't be flat. It needs to have be conductive. It needs to have a current in it, within it. It needs to be electromagnetically charged. Otherwise, it's completely flat. And flat water, unstructured water, is actually harmful to the body. It's not useful at all. And it actually drains the body and very difficult to absorb. And in many instances, creates a situation where it's pulling out the good minerals from the body to rebalance itself within you. So we don't want to drink a flat, unstructured water without a charge. So if you have salad that's grown organically, biodynamically, the water within those leaves is structured perfectly in the quantum spin. Scalar wave water with a charge, an electromagnetic current, a charge. In other words, you can get conductivity coming through it. This is absolutely critical for going forward. If you consider urine is completely structured water. I'm just telling you. And there's a case for urine therapy even, where the urine is ahead of the game. So our urine contains our prescription to heal. So many people with cancer and that, you normally find when you do lab tests, you're a week behind. And the organism's already morphed into a newer form and more aggressive form. But within the urine, it contains exactly your prescription. And it's structured water, just to say. So there you have it. Spring water, structured. Perfect dynamic space. Structured water contains ormus. It has to, because all the triangles of the water are put together. So therefore, there's no place for any bacteria or fungi or viruses or things to live in between. They all need to jump out, and they do. And that's when you structure your water of your body, everything becomes structured. There's no place for any parasites or toxins to live. They have to be eliminated. So if you went on a spring water fast, for example, or even just drank 2-3 liters of spring water, you would automatically restructure your water and you would automatically detox. I've done it with 50 people. We did an experiment. We did some research. And I pulled some random 50 people off one of the WhatsApp groups. They weren't clients of mine, and I actually broke them up into tap water, alkaline water at 9.5, activated water, which comes out of one of my water activators, and spring water. And I had 4 groups. And interestingly enough, all groups did detox, because all of them were suddenly now drinking 2 to 3 liters of water a day. So that's the first thing. But the biggest detoxes were seen with the alkaline water, with the activated water, and with the spring water in particular. So what the typical picture there over the 2-week period was that the first week everybody was down, detoxifying, flattened, eliminating, etc. And then came the second week, everybody had a spring in their walk, because they were coming in. They came in 3 times for me to assess the water. So it's actually miraculous to see what happened. And as a result of that, I called my spring water miracle spring water, because I saw miracles happening in front of me just from the water. So that's what happens when we structure the water in our body. So eating organic food, organic plant food is very, very important. And obviously if it's raw, it's exactly in the structured food state, nature-made pattern. And then it's going to pattern or repattern you. So that's so important with water, is the structure of the water. And how do you structure water if you don't have structured water? If you don't have spring water, for example, you can take 2 glasses and you can pour the water. You get a vortex into the one tumbler, turn it, pour it into the next one, and you get a vortex every time. And within 5 minutes, you've got structured water, very close to structured water. There you have it. You can talk to it, of course, and you can put a geometric design near it, or so. You could take a water structure mat, one of our water structured mats. Within 8 seconds, you've structured the water. You can enliven the water if you put it into a blue bottle and put it in the sunlight for a day. You would have activated the water, just to say. So those are all lovely things to do with water, and it's very precious. And remember that you are what you eat and what you drink. So the more structured the food and the water, the more structured you're going to be, the higher the vibration. You activate the DNA. Think clearly, live productively. Your metabolic pathways work better, your elimination works better, and your absorbability of the water improves with structured water. So those are great sort of beginning points to water. And as I said, a vortex will structure the water. It's the golden mean that's happening in the vortex each time. See? So Rudolf Steiner would activate and raise the charge and raise the conductivity and raise the vibration of his preparations by putting the preparations into the pail of water and then taking a stick, and he would turn the stick clockwise, and then he would cause huge chaos, and he would turn the stick anti-clockwise for a minute, and then chaos, and again turn it for a minute clockwise. And he would do this for about 5 or 10 minutes to bring the cosmic forces down, the earth forces up. So he was creating this vortex around the preparations, and then he would flick it onto the trees. So there again, you can activate your bath water. You do figures of 8 in your bath. A figure of 8 will activate your water. So especially when you're healing people or sick people are getting into water, have it activated, have it charged so that it feeds them and doesn't draw from them. So that's a good thing. And then also Rudolf Steiner spoke about flow forms. So I've got a very, very nice book to show you here. Sensitive Chaos. And that's by Theodore Schwenk. You can have a look there. And this is an unbelievable book, and I learned a lot about this book. And I actually started painting, and I painted these water flow forms. So when you put a paddle into water, you get this kind of these spirals happening. And Rudolf Steiner actually made flow forms. That one I want to show you as well. And in the flow form, you get the spiral forming. As it goes down this flow form, you get spirals. And so by the time the water comes out at the end of the flow form, it's automatically restructured. So that's really nice to know. And let me just see what else I've got here. When your water goes out of the plug hole, it forms a vortex. So just to tell you that little vortex that you see. So let me see. This little vortex here. And that other one I'll show you just now. So as I say, I started painting water. And I'll show you something just now as well about water. And really getting a feel for, first of all, the being of water, and then the nature of all these spirals, because this is what's happening within us. So I did the rhythmical massage course 1 of Rudolf Steiner, and you literally are working with the water in the body, and you're making vortexes as you are doing the rhythmical massage. You're creating vortexes in the body to enliven it and heal it most amazing, amazing, amazing rhythmical massage. That's from Rudolf Steiner. So I also spent, time doing that. And then I spoke before also about looking at the properties of water, and in particular the miscibility of oil with water, which we know doesn't happen. Well, not in general. So I told you before, I went and got water from outside of my property, down the road, right? Tap water from downside the road, because my property is on a frequency field grid. And so everything here it receives DNA energy, earth energy, restructuring energy. The water in my body receives structuring all the time. So we structured, and the water that's around here and in my taps is all structured. So I went to get tap water from outside. I got activated water from my water activator. I got alkaline water, 9.5, and I got spring water. And I took a drop or two of sesame oil and dropped it on each and stirred it with a spoon. And the oil did not mix with the tap water. The unstructured tap water, the oil didn't. It just remained in little globules. And then in the alkaline water, it dissolved. But a few minutes later, it came out of suspend. It never got suspended. It kind of dissolved, it popped out. The activated water, which is in a cylinder with organite, rock, rose quartz, and rock dust, with 2 magnets and a spirals. As the water comes out of this little cylinder, the spirals happen. So you attach this to your mains, and you do an L-shaped copper wire. Well, the copper wire goes through the cylinder, and the water passes through there, past the magnets and past all the high frequency materials, and it restructures the water for you. The density is virtually the same as spring water, which I did mention. So when I mixed the activated water, the oil appeared to dissolve. You couldn't see it. When I mixed it in the spring water, the oil disappeared, completely suspended in the spring water. So the activated in the spring water, the oil mixed and it stayed. That's got to do with the structure, the nature, and the conductivity of the water. The alkaline water, which was tap water that went through some plates and made it alkaline, the oil went in but came out. And then the tap water, the oil was never miscible. So that's quite a huge finding, because lots of people are really clogged with oil and fat around the liver, fat in the blood. And if you're then drinking spring water, that water can actually pull the oil out, the old stagnant oil. It will actually dissolve into the water. And even if you're eating, so if there's water, you shouldn't drink when you eat anyway, but assuming you have a sip here or there, the spring water will dissolve the oil. And that's amazing, because that doesn't, as I say, happen, and as you know. So yeah, so those are properties of water. And then we all know Dr. Emoto, who showed everybody when you say love to water or hate to water, and then they film the crystalline structure, the water that you've said love to is in absolutely perfect snowflake form, and the water where you've said hate towards is distorted. So we know that, we've seen that. And when you've got the structured water, the water that's got life force, such as a spring water. So spring water contains almost gold, right? The flagship product of 365 Healthy by Choice. That's what enables the spring water to come up from the bottom of the ground and come out at the top of a hill against gravity, almost gold. And that's life force. And so that's what spring water contains, and that's what you're consuming. You see, those tightly fast spinning electrons, the current, you're consuming that, and that's what gives you the life force, and that's what sets spring water aside from any water. Some water is bottled water, some of it is reverse osmosis, and I've seen coins dissolve in reverse osmosis water, just by the way. So don't rust is the most important thing about reverse osmosis water. You will rust. And, so that's not really a good thing at all. Distilled water will pull out all your minerals out of you. And I think we've gone past that kind kind of a detox. It's just, that's disaster, because you've then got to put all the minerals back. And so we spoke actually last night about the night before, I think, the transformative powers of plant-based fasting. Why? Because you're getting the structured water coming through all the time, and that's healing. So plant-based fast with spring water is about the best you're going to get. It really is about the best you're going to get. And because that's going to be healing, nourishing, detoxing, and everything all in one go, and enlivening. Because the last thing you want to do is come out of a fast and be totally, exhausted and things like that. You want to actually get your higher space. So, that's just to share a little bit again about the nature and the properties of water. And, how much more water should you drink a day? Quite frankly, depends on your frame size, but anything between 2 and 3 liters. And we need to drink so that we need to go to the toilet. You see what I'm saying? We can't drink and then eventually 2-4 hours later go to the toilet. We need to drink to go to the toilet. Literally keep flushing. I was just at a Whole Food Emporium today, and we were doing assessments of the customers as they came in. And it's horrifying to see the low hydration values, the low amount of water that people are drinking. Equally horrible to see the low oxygen levels, exacerbated by the masks, the low acidic levels, the high inflammatory levels, the low minerals and trace elements, vitamins, etc. levels. The low immunity, the hypothalamus endocrine, the low levels, the sticky blood, the livers, the gallbladder. Oh my word! I reckon just about 1 in 2 people have got a blocked gallbladder. And that's terrible. That means the bile acids can't come out to dissolve the oil, even worse. So what I'm saying about the structured water is you get increased absorption. It's got conductivity and it gets absorbed. There's a reason. Osmosis can happen. Whereas a flat water, you can't. So many people are encouraged to sprinkle some Himalayan salt or some drops of lemon juice into their water just to give it that zing, that charge, so the body can draw it through. So some of these people will tell me they're drinking 3 liters of water a day, and I say, but you dehydrate it. How does that work? And that's how it works, because they're not drinking structured water. So when we want to raise our vibration, when we want to think clearly, live productively, activate the DNA, etc., we need to have structured food, water. The sunlight's always structured. The air, not always, because it can be polluted, just saying. So the ground is well, unless you're on a geopathic stress or some sort of a fault line, the earth energy is mostly Sherman's resonance, mostly 0 voltage. So you can safely stand on the ground. And but you've got to be careful as well in big cities, because they do spray if you don't have access to grass and you go outside. So most of the parks are sprayed and the pavements are sprayed. So you need to be very careful that you're not actually walking on insecticide, pesticide, going straight through your feet into your blood. So go and find yourself a nice forest and take your shoes off there, weather permitting, etc., and walk along there, bare feet. So I do that every day. I walk for half an hour, just soaking up the earth energy, soaking up the nature's energy, and I walk with my bottle of water. So we get the spring water into these bottles, and then I'll drink about, this is 750 mils. I'll drink about 500 mils, and then my stomach says, hold on, that's enough for now. And then I'll wait a little bit, and then I'll drink about another 500 mils or so. And I've obviously taken my Ormus Gold, which is structuring my body even more than even the spring water, let's say, which has Ormus in it anyway. And by the way, flaxseed oil, purely grown, also has Ormus oil, as does blue-green algae, as does spirulina and reishi mushroom. So of course that's all structuring us. When you're cooking with electricity, It's going to interfere with the structure of the water. So gas would be better, but a fire heated water would be the best if you wanted to actually boil the water. Just to say. All right, and people have different reasons for boiling water, because if you do put it onto herbs, you will extract certain different things than if you just had it in cold water. But here's a wonderful thing. So if you take your spring water and you take, let's say, a green tea bag, a tea bag with green tea leaves, and you leave the tea bag in the spring water, guess what? You'll get green tea automatically, because the spring water will pull all the active ingredients out of the tea bag cold. Alkaline water will also do that, just by the way. So you see the activity of structured water. It's amazing. So that's just really, really good. And then let me just see what the next thing was. Okay, so the importance of the vortexes is to structure it, same as us. Even our chakras, that's all vortexes. Then I talked about the conductivity, very important. The various types of water. There's one water I didn't talk about, and that is mineral water. So what's the difference between spring water and mineral water? Mineral water is forced out of the ground. There's explosions or whatever, and they force the mineral water out of the ground. It's not ready yet. It hasn't gone through all the processes and enlivened and gathered the almost gold, etc. It's not balanced at all for the body, just by the way. So that's why we need to wait for the spring water. And nearly everybody must have a spring close to them, because there are many, many, many. We've got one of the top 13 springs very close to me. You have to travel, but you go. It's free. It's free water. And any mountains will have spring water as well. So, we do have access to it. But just remember, water carries a memory, and water's sensitive. So if you're buying spring water from, let's say, a supermarket, maybe it's been in a warehouse where there's been a lot of electromagnetic fields and so on. That'll magnetize water, and it's not going to take the charge away. It's going to take the structure away. So do some research and find out where you can get good water. Mine gets poured, bottled at source, and put in a cardboard box and sent to me, one driver. And that's my water. Same as my oil. So you want to reduce the electromagnetic fields as far as possible. And that also happens when you put the water into a fridge. You're just creating electromagnetic water, charged water, which is not conducive to the body. I mean, who wants to drink water that's been charged with electricity or been in an electrical field? You don't want to do that. So water, your oils, all your special things should be in a dark cupboard, away from a plug. Yeah, these are just little things you probably know them already. So irradiated water is one of the worst. And we all know what 5G does. So what radiated water is water that's subjected to an electromagnetic field that is beyond human what do you call it? Capabilities. We can't coping. You can't cope with it, because the wavelength of a human is just a small little wave like that. But when you get megahertz and electromagnetic fields and Wi-Fi and microwaves, it's a very, 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 very deep wave. And that's what our bodies can't cope with at all. So now you can imagine. You've got your phone around you all day. You've got a cell phone mast near you. You've got your computer, laptop open all day. 3 or 4 people around you or more. You go into a mall, there's I don't know how many thousand phones. Or you go into a school classroom, there's 30, 40 phones on at any one time. I'm just saying. So we are irradiating and disturbing the structure of our water 24/7. So we have to turn that Wi-Fi off at night. We have to ground ourselves at a minimum of 30 minutes a day. We have to ward off and remove the radiation, because we are 80% water, and water magnetizes like that. So, the pouring of the vortexes is very important. Putting the water on the ground in those blue bottles, very important, good idea. And then, having breaks from electromagnetic fields. I've told you I use the earthing mat. So I've got an earthing mat right here. Let me just pull it out. So I'm 24/7 just about touching my earthing mat. And this is earth with the building. And it's measured the voltage on a voltmeter. It's 0 voltage, which is Sherman resonance, which is the earth energy. And that sets up a field that wards off radiation. And then I've got the 5G pendants, which reset the DNA perpetually, because the little crystals inside are holding onto the DNA frequencies and earth frequencies and so on. So as you're getting as the distorted DNA or the distorted frequency comes to you, it resets your DNA, it resets your DNA, it resets your DNA. See, so that's repairing. And then you've got your earthing mat to set up a field. So that's how you're protecting yourself, see? And remember, the cells have all got water, and we need water for delivery of oxygen and food. We need water for the removal of wastes. So it's really an ongoing process. And we also get such a thing as magnetic water. So these are underground magnetic lines that will permanently destructure the water inside you. And, we see that on the QUEX eductor skio devices. We see lots of stresses. And, there again, you don't want to be sleeping on one of those lines. You don't want to be working on one of those lines. So therefore, you want to, again, get an earthing mat and get some sort of a pendant that's going to restructure your DNA. Most of us don't know. And many people get really, really, really sick. Because of this constant radiation. It can be geopathic stress, it can be a Hartmann cross, it can be just all sorts of irradiation. So, water carries that. Water will magnetize. One must be very careful. So I use orgonite. It's like a coaster, but this is orgonite, and I put the bottle on top of it. So I'm protecting the water all the time from anything. But in any event, my home is in a field. In any event, so when I bring water in from down the road, and I bring it into the property, within an hour I start getting little water bubbles forming on the inside of the glass, and that's an indication that they're in a field. Where it's a scalar wave field, put it that way. Yeah. So how do you purify water? Well, that's a good one. So the best thing for that is activated water drop, sodium hypochlorite. And you read on the bottle there, and it will tell you probably about 2 drops in 4 liters. And everything that moves is out of that water. Every hormone, every remnant of drugs, everything, because it breaks everything down into subatomic particles and literally annihilates it. Nothing will survive that. So those are great. That's great to if you're traveling into places where you want to make sure, even where you rinse your water, that it's your mouth from brushing your teeth. You want to make sure all the water is clean. That's what you do, and that's used by many travelers and so on. So one of the fastest way to get healthy is to have your body's water structured. And there's many other ways it will help. There's paramagnetic rock, that's rock dust. And that is also going to help the body structure, because it's positively magnetically pulling out the wrongly charged matter organisms in your body too. Almost gold will restructure, we'll go for degenerative cells. Microbiome reset will restructure you, restructure the water, and so on and so on. So, we really, really do look at the power of water. It's amazing. It's immense. And I mentioned also before, the water is all connected. The whole Earth's water is connected. If you get into the water in the Indian Ocean and you get into the water in the Atlantic Ocean, it's the same water. It's the same space. There's only one water. So and water is very, very grounding. So you all know about walking along the beach, obviously on the ground, but when the water comes, you attract even more electrons. And if you're in the water, you're completely grounded as well. To say. So that's another, if you're in a swimming pool, you're grounded. Very important part about water too. So we really need to make sure we're drinking 2 to 3 liters a day, but water with conductivity. So it's going to get absorbed and do what it needs to do. And it's not going to draw on the body's resources and life force to shift it into the proper scalar wave, quantum golden mean spin. See, because that's using our valuable energy. We've got other things to do with that valuable energy, like really raise our vibrations. Oh, there we go. Find a spring. That's perfect. So if you look at, and thank you for that. If you go and Google find a spring, you'll find a spring near you. It's a whole world map. And even if it's not that near you, try and find somebody who goes regularly to fetch water to bring it for you. It's absolutely fundamentally worth it. It is so worth it. And then you consume structured plant-based food. All with water, ormus. It's all going to have ormus in it, because ormus also at the root tips enables the tree to suck up that water so that it gets right up to the very top. It's the ormus that does it. It's the life force, same as in the spring water. So when we consume ormus on ormus-containing foods, every one of my products contains ormus, whether it's flaxseed, whether it's spirulina, whether it's blue-green algae, pollen, it's all grown properly. So it all contains naturally occurring ormus. So that's great, power. When you're doing that, you've raised your own vibration. And what we're talking about is doing everything in our power to keep our golden spin, our spins, our left and our right, our positive and our negative in balance. And so fear and shock and worry and all of that will destructure us straight away, because you get adrenaline and cortisol pumping and, hitting hard on the cells, etc. And those frequencies will destructure our water for sure straight away. When you're feeling joyous and free and feeling love and peace and all the rest of it, you're adding to the structure of the water and yourself. So we can use aids, you see, to raise our vibration. We can eat the right foods, we can drink the right water, and then what's really left for us is just to do it. You can put it that way as such. So if you can get hold of this book, it's a great book. And just start doing some drawings yourself. Something very interesting. I mean, if you have a look at this, you start seeing pictures of our bone structure. And sometimes people have a little bit of extra hair, like almost little fur lines, and it forms a waveform on their neck or somewhere on their body. Shows you that we were formed with water. I don't know how long ago, but we definitely, these waveforms formed us. And when you see shells, pine cones, etc., so it is the movement of the air and all of that. But in the sea, it's also the swelling, the vortices in the ocean that help the seashell develop into its golden mean, for example. So I think that kind of ends, the main things I wanted to talk to you about. Regarding our health, water's just amazingly important. And when you drink to revere it, I mean, a lot of us just gulp it down, but actually just see it cleansing. cleansing your body. And likewise when you're showering as well. Often when you shower, you're grounded, and it's a very good time to think and be inspired in the shower. All right, so tomorrow we're going to talk about fermented foods and making the food more intelligent. Okay, that's what that's all about, making the food more intelligent. And I just want to go back to our group. And those of you who have joined us are not part of the group, because I'm getting all messages from all over the place. Please record it. Please, can we have it? I just want to quickly give you the group link to the WhatsApp group. So you can all join if you haven't joined already. And if you want to go and have a look at those pendants and the earthing mats, of course, they are keeping your water structured and helping with the structure of your water 24/7. So those are the two things that I use to ward off radiation and to also repair the DNA permanently and to keep the structure of the water going. And we talked about drinking the spring water, the organically grown food, and paramagnetic substances will also restructure us. Anything that detoxifies you, oxygen, is going to help restructure the water because it's removing the cause of why the water is not structured. Okay, so I'm getting a question here. Kangen water is made from an alkaline filtered water. There's usually some sort of titanium plate. I have a device here. The reason I have it is because when people want to detox and they're getting in and out of the sauna or the ozone or whatever their preference is, and then you've detoxed and you want to quickly alkalinize and go and help the body get rid of all these free radicals that are suddenly loose and floating, then it's quite nice to have a glass of alkaline water. Similarly, sportsmen and women also like to have a glass of alkaline water here and there. It is not natural for humans to drink alkaline water 24/7. It is not natural. If it was, we would find alkalinized water all over the place. You would find it in the rivers, you'd find it, well, in the rain. So it's not. That water is literally pH 7.4. Normal natural water, organic water, spring water is pH 7.4. All right. So it's just an aid to detox, but you can't live on it. It's not natural to live on it. Hydrogenated water is a similar thing. It's gone through a process and it's got extra hydrogens as far as I remember. And I know the sports people also like it. And again, I'm telling you now, there's nothing better than spring water. That's all people need. And just because it's balanced and structured for the body, so it's going to literally do whatever you need it to do. And I saw with that detox, the research that I did over the 2 weeks, the spring water, the miracle spring water, performed the best of all of it, of all of the things. The alkalinized people didn't have such a great effect at detoxifying as with the mineral water, with the spring water. So, we always try and get clever and we always try and second guess nature. And honestly, all the solutions are there. They're just right there for us. But again, if somebody's got themselves into a point where they are completely acidic, 6.8, 7 out of, and should be 7.4, then 2 glasses of alkalinized water is going to go a long way to start helping ease the pain and the stiffness and the not feeling well. And then, of course, then you get to a point where the pH is rebalanced, the body's most likely detoxed. But spring water will do it anyway. That's all I can say. And, lots of people are making lots of money bottling water. I think it must be also one of the biggest fake industries ever. I told you the time before, a very prestigious supermarket here in this country was selling mineral water with a pH of 4.1. That is total acid. That is vinegar. The pH of that is vinegar. Now, who wants to be drinking that pH and acidifying your body 24/7? I mean, that's just insane. Those Brita cartridges, you end up with acidic water 6.8. So you can get a little pH meter and walk around and check. So our tap water is 8.1, a little bit alkaline, the tap water. But spring water is always 7.4. So if you look on the back, it says spring water. It says the pH is 8.1 or the pH is 7.1. Forget it. It's not spring water. I'm telling you, it's not spring water. And it's such a fake business. And so many people are bottling tap water and gosh, and paying for it and buying it and those things. So have fun. Start looking at, when you put a paddle into water and start seeing those vortexes. They're too beautiful. In the pond, when you throw stones in and see the little ripples and, the enlivenment of water is so important, such an important thing. And I've got a pond here, which is basically structured water because it's organic structured water. There's lilies in there and everything is just evergreen and it's just beautiful and that. And my dogs, that is the water they like. They want the water out of the pond. So I take their bowl and I scoop it up and that's their best. So that's like rain, they're pure rainwater kind of thing. It's like their spring water. And these are the things that are medicinal for us. Okay, so we're aiming past the stars. We are getting ready for the 21st of December, which is the solstice. It is the turning point regarding the age of Aquarius. Saturn and Jupiter are moving out of Capricorn. They are moving into Aquarius. It is going to be revolutionary. The 4 major planets are lining up, which whenever that's happened before, it's been revolutionary, but I mean it in an evolutionary way. And South Africa, the US, Sweden, and Russia all have Aquarius. I think it's rising stars, rising signs, just by the way. So note what goes on in those countries. And that's going to continue until January, February, till about middle of February. We're going to be having this dose of Aquarian energy, which is, it is revolutionary. It's very energetic. It's very objective. None of the subjective old stuff, pendulums, tarot cards and stuff, none of that. This is an objective, what you measure is real. Use validated, verified devices that you can track progress properly. For example, exactly the space we're in. Keep your feet on the ground. That's the age of Aquarius, using an information technology to the very best of its ability as it trains us to become more and more telepathic. That's what all of this is really about. And don't worry about those 5G masts that are going up all over. They're going to hold free energy very soon. So someone did the dirty work for us, pun on the dirty work. But do worry about the radiation right now. You can protect yourself. So, and there's more to come on that, which is going to be even more exciting soon. So we're using what we have right now and the best that we have available. All right. Any questions anyone wants to ask me besides wanting to go and drink a liter of water? I definitely do. And you know what? You can tell the difference also when you plant and you water this section of your garden with structured water and this one with normal straight tap water. You can see the difference. On my website, I have water structuring mats. So you can get a water structuring mat for yourself. It's got the crystals embedded. It lasts forever. You hold the mat for 8 seconds next to your tea or your water or your wine, and it's structured straight after that. I've got also longer pieces that you put around your swimming pool pipe. And I've got also algae rings that you put into your pool, keeping the water structured. When the water's structured, the algae's got to jump out. It can't actually grow. So it's not actually that difficult, the science. It's all there for us. You can go and have a look and see. Right, so tomorrow, as I said to you, we're going to be doing fermented foods, which is going to be great. And some of you have listened to so many of my presentations. I think I could actually call on you to do the presentation. Boiled water, drinking only boiled water. So boiled water, you know, you've got to make sure what it's boiled in, first of all, the pot, the metal that it was used, because sometimes boiling water will extract those metals out. Too many of them may be heavy metals. And or if the water itself contains heavy metals, it will actually concentrate them out as well and make it worse, just by the way. So some people boil water because they want to get the chlorine off and maybe sanitize the water and so on. The best would be to put it in an open container in the sun. And then the chlorine and everything, the halogens will leave, and you know, the heat's going to, by the enlivenment through the forces of the sun, the photons, you will sterilize the water basically. Another thing people use is ultraviolet light. That also works, but it's a bit impractical. I don't really have an ultraviolet light to pass the water past, just to say. So Vanessa, if you're worried about the water, use the activated water purifying drops, the sulfur dioxide, the one I told you about, because that is what is made to detoxify the water, and it will restructure it because the toxins just leave. They get broken down, the bonds just break, and you have subatomic particles that are in orbit. So it's going to raise the spin exactly as something like that does in the human body. It raises the vitality. Okay, so with that, I just want to thank you all for coming in. It's been an absolute pleasure. Let's do some more tomorrow. And so now we're starting to really create our golden age. The unfoldment of our DNA. Every time we listen in, we get another little, hey, you should be doing this. Hey, you should be doing that. You've known this for a long time. How about now? Because we want to use these collective forces. The earth's shifting, nature's shifting, the solar flares are coming and shifting us whether we like it or not. And astrologically we're shifting, so we need to shift. We have to literally say goodbye to all those old things, those old negative things, old patterns, sometimes the old people that are just a draw on our energy. And move and gravitate to more high vibrational space, because this is about you right now. It's not about anybody else. Right. So you can't look back and say, "Yo, but I help them and I help them." No. This is about you right now and your position in the greater context, in the greater space. So your meditations, coming together in groups like this where we can activate each other's DNA, cross-pollinate. We're on the same wavelength, same vibration, aiming higher. And we just really want our bodies to be as squeaky clean as possible. The mental factors, the anxiety, the trivialities, let it go. It's just let it sail down another river, because you're going down this one. And this one's full of vortexes and life force and flow. Okay, you might get the odd rock in the way. It's an illusion. You just go around it and form another vortex and off you go again. So there's no blockages. There are obstacles of the mind, according to Deja Dubonnet, right? And they're illusions. That's all they are. Okay, so let's work on our freedom. Let's work on our joy. Let's work on our transformation. and then request from the primary creator the most benevolent timeline for yourself this lifetime. The most benevolent ascension for yourself, your family, your animals, the planet, humanity. Remember to request from the primary creator that the dark forces from the beginning of time, whenever, right through to now, interdimensionally, horizontally, vertically, etc., leave. They can go outside and disintegrate. And then people that have hurt you, you can send them for rehabilitation. Just send them. People who you've hurt, you can say you're sorry. When you start doing this, it's unbelievable how the air clears and how your vibration just rises. And you just feel light. So we want to be practicing being in 5-dimensional space. And the longer we practice and the more we hold the 5D space per day, the closer we're getting to being there permanently. If that's what you want, not even stopping there, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, I'm saying there's no limit. You just got to start somewhere, and you can notice yourself. Am I going to react to that, or am I going to leave it? So 3D, the 3D part of me, the old part says react. The other part says, oh, just leave it. Don't worry about it. It's not about not setting your boundaries, but it's about being reactive. You can also remove any form of artificial intelligence and regain back your plasma and your own operating system. So anything that's not part of your own authentic, original, organic operating system can leave and go and disintegrate outside as well. Simple. Okay, everybody, it's been an absolute pleasure. It's been so nice having you here. And right, so tomorrow we're going to have the immune lecture by Desiree Dubonnet. Don't forget, 7 o'clock, same time, SAST. It's a different web link for tomorrow night, okay, for Saturday. It's the only night where there's a different web link. I'll be posting it shortly. And then after that, Rita and I normally talk about something, but I'll be doing fermented foods. And I will have to bring my kombucha out. I'll bring my sauerkraut out. I'll bring my kefir out. And in case you don't believe me, I can quickly go fetch it. I'm not going to quickly make it. I have it already, just to say. And then the microbiome reset probiotic, which we ferment as well. I do it on a large scale, but we ferment it here in any event. And we can talk a little bit about compost tea for plants. We can do a little bit of fermenting with comfrey leaves and that. I'll speak a little bit about that. So if Annette's in the meeting tomorrow, I'm sure she'll remind me. And I think we're all in a very good space. So thank you so much. Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming in, all of you. See you tomorrow night.